Hey guys, Darren with Vinyl Corner. Yesterday I drove home, took a 6 hour drive from my location. I was working on a project and drove home because sometimes I'm in no man's land. And, do I take a 2 hour drive to Louisville and then fly to Chicago and then fly home and go through all of that, which takes time, or drive to St. Louis? But if I drive to St. Louis, I might as well just drive home the extra 3 hours. And that's kind of what I did last night, coming home from southern Indiana. And when I'm on the road, I do like to listen to live recordings on my Spotify. I'll download live records, and it's kind of odd. It's kind of like that way I can listen to the front all the way to the end of it and just kind of capture that whole great live thing. So last night I was listening to Bursting Out, wonderful Jethro Tull live album, and they have such a great version of the Hunting Girl. It far exceeds anything that the studio from Heavy Horses had on it, and got me thinking, what are other songs that I love the live version better than the studio version? And there are a few, and we're going to talk about those today. My choices. I know you have your choices, and that's what makes music great, because it can attract many different people for many different reasons. And something you can massively love, someone else could hate. I tell you, it's kind of ironic. I have been married to my wife for almost 40 years, and I think there's only about 4 or 5 musical artists that we agree together on. And that would be Third Day, ZZ Top, Rush, the Bee Gees, don't judge, and Chris Stapleton now. So it's kind of, that happens. And she has her music, I have mine. So starting off, we're going to go with a song from Dire Straits' live album, Alchemy. This came out in 83, 84. It was recorded on the Love Over Gold tour. And I know we talked about the album Making Movies when we were talking about third albums a while back. And their version of Tunnel of Love, which is on Making Movies, is such a wonderful, wonderful live experience to have. It's just very, very great. If you get a chance on Spotify, download it. They've got a wonderful version of a few other songs. Their version of Sultans of Swing is just happening. Version of Telegraph Road is great, but I just like the sound quality on the album better. But that's, to me, massively such a better recording to me of Tunnel of Love. Next one we've talked about. This is such a wonderful live album, and just really great back before the record label kind of wanted to make them into a 80s dimensional type of band. Riding the Storm Out. Riding the Storm Out, it's sung by a different guy, Terry Luttrell, maybe? I'd have to look at it. But the live version is what you hear on FM radio now, and it's so superior to the studio version. And that's really all I have to say of it. It's wonderful, and that's really the most, when you hear the song, it's mostly going to be from that live record, because it is just so great live compared to the studio version. This one is Whitesnake. Now, this is back when they were, I don't want to say back when they were good, but I kind of do want to say back when they were good. I loved them when they were a bluesy rock band. I know in the 80s they kind of went the way of the big hair and kind of did that. And the music wasn't bad. I mean, it fit what was going on there, but I really, really loved the bluesier era. And their version of Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City on the live version is so spectacular. It, to me, is a master class of blues rock played live. Bernie Marsden and Mickey Moody are so great at their craft on this. If you get a chance, you've got to listen to the live version of Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Next is from UFO. Now, UFO is kind of an interesting thing. UFO has slowly crept up to be one of my favorite bands of all time. I have gotten back through the catalog and all that. They were kind of a band I discovered a little bit more during COVID. Um, there used to be a show on VH1 called That Metal Show, and I always loved watching it. It was kind of really fun. And one of his favorite albums was Strangers in the Night, and he always talked about UFO, and he'd always have Michael Schenker on the show, and Michael Schenker was in UFO prior to going off and forming MSG and doing some other things, but they have such a wonderful version of Lights Out and Rock Bottom. The whole third side of this album is just classic, far superior and far greater than what was recorded on the albums. So this one's also a cut that you hear a lot, and it comes from the biggest selling album of their career. And this is also a nice boogie band that I really loved back in high school. Kind of got involved with them a bit. Back in the day, you would, get 13 albums for a penny, and you'd have to join the Columbia House and so forth. So those who remember that would remember that. And I stacked up on them, and this is Foghats live. And the live album starts off with Fool for the City. It is such a really fun, raucous version of Fool for the City that mirrors, but to me is just a toenail's length better than their album version. And this was their biggest selling album, 3 million copies. Everything they released all the way to 79 went gold. The only platinums they had was the Fool for a City album and the live album. And finally, this whole record is kind of better than anything on the studio albums. But I'm going to pick one. I got into them back in early on in junior high when this album came out. My sister got it on 8-track. 8 tracks. And, well, hi, baby. How are you? You can come visit? Okay. This is Otis. She's, I don't know how old she is. It's my niece's cat. She thought it was a boy, so she named it Otis, and then went to take it for its vet and found out it's a chick cat. But Otis stuck, so we call her the Oats. So, Cheap Trick. I Want You to Want Me. I Want You to Want Me on the live version, Surrender live. All of it is just so much better than the studio versions of anything. And I've got the studio versions, and the albums are good. The albums are really good. But when you listen to them and listen to this, it's just night and day. So it's just really a great recording when you listen to it live. You okay? So those are my picks of great live recordings of songs that I think is better than the studio songs. So if you have your own choices, that's great. That's what music's for. Music is for you. Love your music. Enjoy your music. There's a few other things that I love we didn't go over. Is Show of Hands by Rush has a great version of Big Money. Kind of enters with the Three Stooges, and then it just starts. And I can go through a whole lot of other ones, but those are kind of my picks for now. In the meantime, guys, y'all enjoy your day, and God bless.